Welcome back to my channel. So, in this episode, I am not going to talk about the movie itself, the series. I'm gonna talk about the architecture and the interior design in this drama. On one side, we have Gang Cheon's house with his office from Daesan Group, and on the other side we have Yang Seon's house. We will start with Gang Cheon's house, which is very impressive because the access to the property is through a monumental gate. First, you pass by a spacious and imposing roundabout with water and lights, and then through the actual gate, which is an architectural reinterpretation of traditional Korean entrance. It's minimalistic and shiny, designed especially to make you understand you're entering Chaebol's estate. And then we see the house itself, which is a modern construction with clear lines, composed of multiple buildings' wings with many terraces and a huge garden full of trees and plants. The house appears very solid with masonry walls and the gable roof. The eaves do not extend beyond the walls, giving it a current and modern look. To complement this sharp architecture, there are huge windows that connect the inside with the outside, softening the building's rigidity. Even from the parking area, we notice a fabulous interior design with playful lighting and diverse materials. The first room revealed from Gang Cheon's house is a small hallway, simply decorated and arranged. There are two large dark colored sofas, a small coffee table between them, and a glass wall with dark framing separating the hallway from an office. The walls are neutral beige, simple, yet spacious and efficient. Next, we are led into Gang Cheon's library, which is also his office from home and the place where important conversation happen. Here we see very tall wooden paneled walls, more sofas and armchairs with wooden frames and white leather cushions. The ceiling is also wooden paneled and the massive wooden desk matches the room. The atmosphere is brought to life by the multitude of book-filled shelves and light effects necessary, as the gray walls otherwise make the room very heavy and cold. The next room in this mansion belongs to Il-do, and it stuns you from the moment you enter it. It's an overly masculine room with dark furniture, a leather sofa and chair with metal structure, metal frame shelvings, a black accent wall with warm light niches, black frame windows, dark green blinds, and silver decorative walls, including two black pull-up bars. The only thing that breaks the darkness in Il-do's room is the way the light hits through the massive windows. The room is somehow the opposite of Il-do's personality, because we saw from all the episodes that we did before that he's not strong-willed. He never acts on his own thoughts, never makes decisions alone. He doesn't have a strong character. He's just a pawn in Yang Seon's game. But the room somehow matches his physical appearance. He has thick black eyebrows and an intense, captivating gaze. I mean, his face, the way he dressed, because he only dressed in black or dark colored clothes, definitely matches his room. But on the other side, I don't know, I thought that this room actually could reflect his inner emotions. I'm saying this because, after all, he did kill his best friend, which was Doggy's ex-husband, Eun Nam's father, and his lover, Dongju's mother. And I think it's kind of obvious that Kdrama may have led him to decorate this space like this, simply to let him grieve a little bit, because couldn't grieve on the outside, so he had to have a reminder of what he did. And also we saw on the end of the series that this exact room was Dogizeg's husband, and he lived there, and the room was completely different. It was colorful, lively. It has colorful couches, white curtains, lots of natural light, decorative items, green plants. It was completely opposite the way it is now. And also, when we saw that flashback, Hilda was dressed more lively. So he definitely changed after he caused that car crash and killed two people and made Dongju lose his memory. So yes, maybe Ildo's room, it is the way it is now because that's how he expresses his feelings, what he actually feels, and it's definitely that he has a dark soul. So yes, I think he is suffering, as we saw it when he actually saved Dongju from the hospital and then he slapped that man sent by Yang Seon, and you could actually see in his eyes and on his face the frustration and the rage that was inside him. So I think the room actually shows us Ildo's feelings, emotions. After his death, the color returns. We see colorful pillows, changed light, decorative objects in the shelves behind the furniture, new lamps. It's like the room only came to life after Ildo's life ended. Did you see that? I mean, the irony, top notch. It's there. Another key room in this house is Eun Nam's, which is on the ground level, offering direct access to the lush garden. Her room is extremely feminine and fresh. It's full of plants, lots of potted cactuses, colorful flowers, especially red flowers, an ochre chair and ottoman, which are warming the ambience, a lot of colorful ceramic items. They're blue, they're green, so we do see a lot of colors mixed together in a very warm ambience. And in my opinion, what stood out the most in this whole room are the vibrant paintings, because they are with a lot of red. So in her room, red is the main color. It's the only room in that house that it's lively, it's vibrating. And also we see the feminine side from the walls, because they are with a faded powered pink, and to reinforce the indoor-outdoor connection. In addition to the glass doors opening into the garden, there's a huge window above the bed through which the green of the garden is visible. It feels like she's sleeping outside. So it's very pretty, delicate, feminine and fresh. Perfect interior design for a young woman. It's a very pleasant eyesight. Now, after these little rooms, now we actually see the core of the house, which is the living and dining area. The space, it's a huge hall with two circular wooden frame sofas with white cushions. On the other side of the living area are two display cabinets with porcelain tableware as striking decorative elements, which are very special and very beautifully lightened by the warm lights. And even the bar area has decorative porcelain plus crystal glasses and bottles. A huge table sits in front of many tall narrow windows, and although the walls are light colored and the ceilings are high, they remain empty. You somehow feel the emptiness in that space, and all these walls are actually neutralizing the space. I think there are too few decorative items to fill the room. They're more like accents, and even the people they don't fill the space. So it's kind of a huge void. I could say the whole space is kind of blank, and I know we have these expensive and luxurious decorative items and furniture, but it doesn't fill up the space. And as you saw in the drama, everything in Gang Cheon's house feels very immaculate, starched. Even when they dine, the servants stand in straight, crisp lines, and those seated at the table must be impeccably dressed and styled, almost glowing. So practically in Gang Cheon's house, you have to have the perfect image, something like that, which is the exact example of a rotten apple. It's shiny on the outside, but it's eaten by worms on the inside. And this is the best represented by the family photo Gang Cheon takes at the end of the drama, right at the end, with his new wife and his youngest son. They are all shiny. It's the perfect picture, but they will eat each other up. So it's the rotten apple. Shiny on the outside, worms that they'll end up consuming each other on the inside. Okay, so this was the first house that we discussed. It was Gang Cheon's mansion. See you next for the next house, which is gonna be Yang Seon's house.